Hey guys, it's been a while, so I wanted to show you my blank journals and just kind of look through them. I like to look through my blank journals or pins, stickers, just anything hobby related when I'm trying to relax. So the first one is this one, and I got this one tonight. This is an old Barnes and Noble one, and this was the last one that they had, and I wanted to get it since it's just so old. They started making this in 2004, and you can still find these, but they're just not as many as there used to be, and I figured I'd get it while I had the chance, and it's one of these thick ones. And then another Barnes& and Noble one that they stopped making at least a few years ago or more is this one. And I looked up the publication date of this because I was just remember seeing it for so many years, and it's from like 2002 or something. Um, and I'd eyed it for years. It just has this weird handmade paper that the texture kind of I don't like, but I like the look of it, and it just looks kind of vintagey and comforting, which sounds weird. And sometimes the stuff that you've seen in a store for years just kind of feels like an old friend or just like a common thing you've seen and just familiar and, I don't know, comforting in some way. So there's those. Um, these are most of my blank journals, other than a handful of them. There's maybe like 5 more or something, and then I've got my current journals, which is kind of maybe. I have like one main one. Well, okay, I think I have like 4 going, but one's kind of the main one. This white Moleskine is just another blank one. And this denim one, I'm probably going to Mod Podge to cover this because I don't really like the feeling of fabric journals. But I eventually want to get some like small pin looking stickers to put on here. It's just kind of make it look like a denim backpack or something. This Mario Moleskine, this one's a pretty old one. I think it's from, I want to say 2012 they made this design. And then this is vintage. This is from, I didn't have it back then, but it was from, they made this in like 2005. It's a Mary Engelbreit one. And if anyone knows how to get old stickers off of journals, let me know, because I've been trying to peel this off. It's really, I don't have the patience for that. So my sticker might be on there for all of eternity. But I used to really like Mary Engelbreit as a kid. I decorated my room in high school with it, so I wanted something like that. And then this little cute one's a gift. This one I got as a teenager, and I got 2 of these back then, and it's multicolored paper. It was in a store that had a bunch of Sanrio stuff. And I cut the cover off one of these and put it in a scrapbook, and then I found this one. I'm like, all right, since I keep finding these in my life, it might be, it might be like a sign. Not really, I don't think it's an actual sign that I need to have this. I can use it, but I just keep, I found another one. I was like, yeah, that's kind of fun. Now I actually kind of want to use one, so I'll probably eventually use this as a journal, even though it's super tiny. And I figured the plastic would eventually break, but it's actually held up really well because I'm old, and this is from when I was a teenager, so. This one is an old Barnes& and Noble one also. I've had this for so many years. Like well over a decade. So, and I wasn't gonna, probably like at least 5 years ago, I wasn't gonna keep it. I took the pages that I'd use out of it and kind of put it aside, and then I ended up finding it in more recent years and deciding to I'd eventually use it when my life's kind of going well. So not now. But when I got this journal back, I was actually like a teenager also. I was really young, and I got this, and it was just kind of a rough time. So I wrote some pages back in it back then, and I kept those pages in another journal that was kind of just like a journal I'd started using and never finished back then. But then I decided to keep this one, so I might take those pages and stick it back in here. When I tried to get into journaling, it took so many tries. And I finally stuck with it in fall 2006, mostly because I'd had a few people tell me I should try it. My grandfather had said, I should keep, I was living in a historic city in historic times. I should cherish some memories and even document in a journal. He said something like that in a letter a few years before then. And then I had a boss who gave me this journal as a Christmas gift and said something nice, like every good writer needs a good journal, because that was my job as an editor back then. And I'd also watched a YouTube video in fall 2006, just a girl saying how she wanted to remember her life as it really was, instead of seeing the past with rose-colored lenses or something like that. So it finally stuck, but it did take so many tries of getting into journaling. I think I tried at least, 3 main times to get into journaling. and I never stuck with it. I'd get the journal, write a few pages, and then forget about it altogether. Or there was that red journal I'd tried with a purple one, and then I tried with a polka dot one, and the polka dot one was super tiny and had bad paper. So I think a lot of it, or when I actually stuck with it journaling, was just because my arm's about to fall off. Hang on, like prop my arm up. I got a Barnes & Noble leather wrapped traveler's journal that they don't make anymore. And it felt kind of worldly, and the paper was beige, and just didn't bother my senses. It finally felt like a nice kind of heirloom type journal that I actually wanted to keep up with, not just journals with bad paper or overly cheesy designs that I just couldn't get into. Anyway, these two I'm not sure if I'm actually going to use. I like this one, but I've only used one spiral journal. I've only filled one ever. So this wasn't spiral, I'd use it, but it is, and I can't find one that's not, because they haven't made this design since 2014 or something. It's an old Piccadilly one. And this one's a Nicola one, and I like the look of it. It's just such a large journal. I don't really go for journals this large usually, though I did use one last year and I actually liked it. So we'll see. I'm just kind of keeping them here just in case I can decide to use them later. I kind of have a decent number, almost that big, and just kind of great because I usually don't like that size. Like this one. This one I almost got rid of, but it's another old Barnes & Noble one that I'd seen back then and didn't get because it was just kind of it was really expensive. I didn't know if I'd really get into journaling or not. So I'd wanted it for years, and then they stopped making it. Finally found one. And then these two are so physically heavy, I'm not sure if I'll really be able to use these because it's kind of, it's hard to lift, and I don't know if it'll really lay flat. I like to add a lot of stickers and crap in journals, so I don't know if these two will really work for me, but they're so cool looking, I'm keeping them for now. They're really so physically heavy. If I try to stack them and lift both of them in my left hand, I couldn't do that. They're ridiculously heavy. But they're really pretty. So we'll see if I ever get any, measurable upper body strength or not. I probably will not. Then this one, Little Twin Star and Care Bears Together, which I didn't know was a thing. That just is my childhood on one piece of fabric. And this is a journal from the V&A Museum from the UK, and it's just folk art looking. I took a folk art class in college. It was kind of cool. Kind of reminds me of that. And it kind of reminds me of the 1960s or 1970s. And then this one's an old Bombay Company one that an old boss gave me. And that just was my phone charger just falling on me. That scared the crap out of me. Death. It's been a while since I said death. But yeah, been waiting for the right time to use this one. Probably when I need some mental encouragement, just because that time in my life I kind of had some encouraging people at work and stuff. And this one, Rainbow Barnes & Noble, and I want to decorate the cover somehow. I'm not sure how yet. Or I might just take the cover off and put this paper in something else if I can find another one that fits. But I'd wanted a rainbow paper journal for years, so I was glad to find that one. I was gonna bedazzle or something, but I don't have a bedazzler or measurable upper body strength to bedazzle it with. Then this one, little golden book one. The paper's kind of bleach white, but there's not many pages at least. And that's a Gallison one. Then this one's a Barnes & Noble one, and I found this one on Fleabay a year or two ago. And the publication date was 2000 or 2001, so it's as vintage as it looks. I almost used this back then, but I just had so many other journals going and didn't really fill them as quick as I used to. But I'll probably use this maybe this year. I don't know. We'll see. There's kind of so many I want to use now that I'm not filling them as quick as I used to. It's kind of hard to write. It's physically hard to write. So I don't fill them as quick. But eventually I might fill them quicker again. Then this holographic one. This rainbow one. These were good. I'm not actually sure what brand they are, but I'd never seen either of these. It's fun to like have ones that you never have seen the brand of. It's this. I can't really read that, but this brand. Midwood, Mildwood, no Midwood brands. It's fun to drive when you can't see. I can see enough. Just anyway. Lisa Frank. This one's a Macy's one from I want to say 2015, and every page is decorative. Otherwise, I probably would have used it by now. It's just a lot if you want to use washi tape and stuff. It kind of like that decorated of pages kind of gets in the way. But I was glad that they had some Lisa Frank stuff because that was my childhood. And this one, an Oberon, and I put a something Rodeo Web notebook in here because the paper that comes with these is trash. And these like kind of splurgy ones, I just kind of wait for the right time, like when I want something splurgy in my life, because sometimes it's nice to have just like a paper journal or something more plain and, not relatable, but just kind of more casual. So, yeah. It's hard to do with one hand. That's what she said. This is an old Hobby Lobby one that a childhood friend gave me back in 2007 or 8, and I've almost gotten rid of this a few times, but I decided to keep it just because it's been in my life so long. I don't really know the girl anymore, so I was kind of debating if I wanted to use it just because of that, and because it's got decorative pages, and it's kind of a lot of decorative, but yeah, I had written a page in this back then summarizing we like hung out one day or something, so I summarized that and I put that page in another journal, but it's still kind of like nostalgic enough that I remember when it's from anyway. I have had like very few people ever give me a journal, so it's kind of, it's cool that she gave me one. I think if I'd used it back then, I would have been like more into it. I probably will use it though. This one is a Peter Popper Press one, and I used to have one of these. I'd try to use it as like a nighttime journal, but that didn't really work, and I decided to get one again just because they're kind of getting harder to find. But I'm not sure if I'll use it because I tried to once before. It's kind of hard to use a journal that you've like couldn't get into the previous time. Like this one, I tried to use one of these a few years ago, a lavender lilac moleskin, and couldn't get into it. The paper in these is super thin, especially if you've used a Italian leather journal more recently, or like in a recent history. Now markings one, it's a little scratched, but I got that one. Well, I got one in 2014. I wanted to say like Marshalls or somewhere, but I had written a few pages in it because I started out as a travel journal and I was going to finish it. When I got home, I never did, so I ended up getting rid of it. So I got another one because I love that color. It's kind of weird how sometimes if you start a journal, and then you put it away for too long, you kind of can't get back into it and you have to like start all over. This one, I don't really know what brand it is, but I got it on Amazon. They have a lot of like sports and school ones. Death. This orange moleskin. I'd filled an orange moleskin once, but I'd filled that one so quick that I ended up like not keeping it. I filled it maybe like a few weeks or something, like really quick. Maybe it was 2 months, but still. So I wanted to try again because one of my lifelong favorite colors has been orange, and pink, and also lavender. But orange kind of started it all, and naturally I have to put them in the same order. It's gonna bother me, so that's 1 second. All right, this one, I love these. I used a purple one earlier this year. As a gift, they're flame tree journals, and they've got the decorative pages on the side, and they have two different designs, or two different types. This one is like a textured cover, and then they have one that's not textured. I like the textured ones way better, like this. I'd seen a kind of lavender one that wasn't textured, and it just didn't feel as nice as this orange like textured cover. And then Vintage Lisa Frank. And this is another one I'm kind of debating if I'm going to use or not. It's a unique one. It's got so much branding on it, but the paper's just bleach white, and not really the sturdiest thing in the world either. But, decent enough. So yeah, there's some here that we'll see if they end up eventually making the cut, but I figure I can always get rid of stuff if I don't use it, and sometimes it's easier than like trying to find one that's hard to find later. Though this gold one, I actually really want a pink one, but they're from like 2007, so I don't think I'll ever find one. I found one that from like used online somewhere, and then the person didn't end up having it after all, or they lost it. So yeah, sometimes you can find old stuff that you never think you'll find, but not always. This one's a markings one too, and it's kind of scratched, but the right now thing cracks me up. I used a gray one of these once. I just think until like 2013 or 14. It was a really long time ago, and the magnet thing just didn't stay shut, so that bothered me. Because I added a lot of journals, but eventually it kind of smashed back down, and then it worked. But that's kind of why I haven't used that one, just because that was really irritating that the magnet wouldn't stay shut. I think they have some with like clasp too, or like the thing that you, is it a clasp? Like the metal thing that you like insert in the, whatever you call that, like a denim jacket, like you like press the two little metal things together. That. This one's an old markings one, or this old C.R. Gibson one from when I was a kid. That someone gave our like teen group to use as travel journals. So it's got a little bit of writing in it from back then. It's kind of cool. This one is an old Barnes & Noble one. And this is an old design. They had this even back in like 2006 when I first started getting into journaling, but I didn't know that I really liked journaling, so I didn't splurge this much back then. And they stopped making them, so I had to like hunt this down because I'd always wanted one. And then a VHS tape right here. That's a journal. It's not cheesy at all, but yeah. I took it looks just like this when you get one, but I took the like paper out of my actual VHS tape that I had as a kid, so it's got some nostalgia in this journal, like automatic nostalgia. Then I'd always wanted a rainbow journal, so this is just like a random off-brand on Amazon. That's actually kind of surprisingly decent. This is the brand. It's not amazing, but the paper's okay. It's not bleach white. It's like, it's just like, happy looking. And then we're almost there. These two, which I wish were like smaller, and because they're kind of physically heavy, and they're just, the lines are so light I can barely see them. Unless I'm like in a super light room. It's pretty light in here, but it's just kind of hard to see them, and that kind of makes these journals not my favorite. But they are nice. They've got kind of gold embellishments, and I'll eventually use these. I've been tempted to a few times. And then this one is an old Juicy Couture one, and I'd wanted that for so many years, since literally 2007 or 8. I really wanted the pink one, but I couldn't find one. I've had this a handful of years. I kind of put bedazzled crap on it, and I took that off, and I kind of screwed this up a little bit, but I'm going to bedazzle it again. Not bedazzle, but just like rhinestone stickers. It kind of messed up a little bit. So yeah, those are most of my blank journals, other than a handful, and I don't know, it's just, I like looking through stuff. I haven't really, this is like the first day off I've had in a really long time, and had a lot of like late nights and school stuff and work stuff and everything that has just been a lot. So I like just looking through fun stuff after, a busy or rough patch or whatever. I don't really have like an extra shelf, otherwise I'd probably like not double them up like that because it kind of looks a little scattered, but yeah, here they all are. I want to say there's like 40 something, maybe like 43, or something like that. And I don't know. Let me know if like how many journals you have, or if there's any of these that you clean out. If you're like, this one sucks, you should go immediately burn it. If you think I should go immediately burn it, I don't know. It might be a bit of a rage issue, but and let me know if you think I should use these, or if you've ever seen, if you see any available that aren't the this, like that are that have the normal binding instead of a spiral, or what. I'm pretty sure that they don't really make this one anymore either, so that's kind of why I haven't gotten rid of it, because I don't want to just like end up wanting it later and then not being able to find it. But most stuff it wouldn't really be that big a deal to like not be able to find a journal, like, because I mean there's other journals exist in the world, so I could just use something else. Death. That one just kind of didn't want to be part of the crowd. It's like Ahmed. Silence. I can't. Anyway, I usually can't get into the Italian leather ones, but I've got one of my current ones that I kind of put to the side for a minute is the Tree and Sunset one, which I'd actually start over if I could find another one, because I tried to use it last year and that didn't work out. Why do I have like pills on the floor? Not like like Coke or anything, just like blood pressure pills on the floor. That's great. Anyway, um, I really need to like vacuum. I don't know that I actually own I think I do own a vacuum now, but for a really long time I didn't. But yeah, these are pretty hard to use because they're just so thick. It's not what you said. But when I do use them, the one that I did use, that was the antique tree, I think it was called one, or the antique, I don't know, tree of life. It was something, not tree of life, tree, and I think it is called the antique tree one. I kind of thinned it out a little bit before using, and that helped. Helped me get into it. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. This might be more than 42 because I've kind of gotten a few new ones this year. I'm going to try to peel this off, and I might have to go burn it because it's really not my favorite thing until I try to do like tedious crap like that. But yeah, have a good night. Bye.